A council bans apostrophes from new road signs. We will ask if this means the end of the simple punctuation mark.
What's in a name, hey? We're talking about names, and this is your favourite subject this morning, apostrophes.
Bit of punctuation.
Punctuation. I know you are a stickler. How do you feel about the use of apostrophes? Well, one council has decided to do away with them altogether, saying they're confusing computer systems.
Yeah, we're talking about North Yorkshire Council. They say all new street signs are going to be produced without an apostrophe. It's fair to say, though, that the reaction among the local population has been mixed, including one unhappy person who took matters into their own hands and started correcting the signs with a marker pen.
What do you think, Sue, not using apostrophes?
No, I don't like it. I think you should use apostrophes.
Would you put them back on?
Yes.
Did you put it back on?
No, definitely not.
You should definitely not the grammar girl.
Definitely not me.
Trying to teach children the basics of grammar and punctuation and then not to have it presented properly when they're out and about. Yeah, bring back the apostrophe.
It doesn't matter because it's the same like pronunciation. Yeah, and then right now when I tell people my home address or what the road I am on, for me myself, I feel like it's the same.
If you start losing things like that, then everything goes downhill, doesn't it?
Signs should contain proper language.
So, if all these street signs are going to change, what would you say about that? If you could sum it up to North Yorkshire Council, what would you say to them?
I'd say replace them exactly as they were.
Do you know what this reminds me of?
It's going to drive you mad, this, isn't it?
There was a story I did in Bristol, about 4 or 5 years ago for breakfast, about a man who called himself the grammar vigilante and who literally went out at night with a balaclava under the cover of darkness and a stepladder correcting signs. He would literally, on signs that were up, businesses, he would, there we go.
Oh,
Amy's
no.
nail apostrophe S, he got rid of that.
Oh, dear. OK.
Did that kind of thing. Herbert's.
I think an apostrophe where it shouldn't be is more annoying than no apostrophe at all.
But this guy, he had little bits of laminated plastic which he matched the colour.
No.
So he's got rid of it there. He's matched it to the background and got rid of one. Yeah, he was obsessed. Lots of us are obsessed. Nina's obsessed. She's just messaged me. I'm so livid about the lack of respect for the apostrophe.
Oh, OK.
Are you bothered? Maybe you think it doesn't matter anymore, especially if you're using a sat-nav and you're trying to put a place name in.
Yes,
And that's
that would
kind
be
of what North Yorkshire
irritating.
Council is saying, isn't it? It doesn't really make that much difference. Do let us know if you think the world needs to keep its apostrophes.
Yes, I'm looking forward to all our responses on this morning because I imagine a lot of you have strong opinions on this. As you can see, the ways to contact us on your screen now.
If you've got a picture of a sign with a bad punctuation mark, we want to see those on the WhatsApp number. Tell us where it was, who you are. Susie Dent, she's not going to be happy, is she? She's going to be talking to us a little bit later.
Susie Dent's always happy.
Yeah,
She'll
she's
just
happy,
tell us how
but
to do it properly.
She's
Yes.
a stickler, isn't she?
Yes.
She's just got it right. We're going to be checking all your messages this morning for the correct punctuation and marking them out of 10.
That'll just be John. It's fine, honestly. Write whatever you want to say. Oh, my goodness, it's driving you all mad this morning, I think.
We've had so many messages from you who are also driven mad. Michael in Kent's been in touch. Morning, Michael. He spotted this sign for a local bird sanctuary,
Oh, no.
which he says misplaces not one, not two, not even three, but 4 apostrophes.
Look at the bottom of it. Birds,
Kent's
reptiles,
bird of prey.
meerkats, otters.
Michael's been driven mad by that. Thank you very much indeed. Some people would be... We should have done a warning. Turn away now if you're offended.
It's going to make you really cross. Well, joining us now is someone who knows a lot about punctuation. Countdown, Susie Dent. Morning, Susie. Lovely to see you. This is clearly something that really bothers people. Apostrophes, getting them wrong, and then this decision to just abandon them altogether. What do you think?
I feel really torn on this one, Sally, because there's elegance in the apostrophe, and it does feel as though there's something lacking on those street signs. And, I'm someone who loves the semicolon, and I'm very sad that that's disappearing. But I don't think this is the end of English rules and that our language is falling into ruin. Punctuation is as subject to evolution as our vocabulary and our pronunciation. And if you look at the history of the apostrophe itself, there's never been any agreement, really a widespread agreement in terms of how we should use it. And if you go back to Shakespeare's First Folio, only 4% of the words in which we'd use an apostrophe today, you know, for possession and things, had such punctuation. And Jane Austen had no clue how to use the apostrophe, really. She was really inconsistent. So some of our greatest writers have, you know, we would say misused the apostrophe. So I totally understand why people are feeling very sore about this, but I would just say that this is absolutely nothing new. That's always my mantra. You know, whenever we think there's a huge mistake and, you know, English is going to the dogs, I just think, well, actually, you know, like as a filler has been used since the 18th century, likely as an adverb, which gets on people's nerves, 13th century, you know, at some point in the past, we have been committing the same thing. And the only other thing I would say is that I think if these were sort of lowercase, then I would be bothered more. But in French, you know, quite often with capital letters, they leave the accents off as well. And the apostrophe, as I understand it, has a specific meaning or multiple meanings in computer programming. So I sort of understand the rationale. So I am going to be diplomatic and say I can see both sides.
Should go to politics. We're looking here. It's something like, for example, in names, we've had a message here from Christine O'Brien, who says that with a surname like O''Brien, it causes all kinds of problems with email addresses and booking holidays online. And that's the kind of issue that we're talking about. I mean, we've talked about the past. Can you imagine that in the future, maybe we just won't have apostrophes at all?
Well, I would also say they are really important for clarity. So even though English doesn't really have many rules, the I before E except after C rule has got so many exceptions, it's not really worth it. But they are important for clear communication. And I think when we trip over a word, then the impact of a message is completely lost because we're going back and we're trying to understand something. So I can't quite envisage that. But as I say, punctuation is changing. So you think of the colon and the semicolon, as I mentioned, they're really being replaced by dashes now. And I don't know whether the semicolon will survive. So I think it's a question of watch this space. But one thing is for sure is that if English keeps moving forward, and sometimes it will be in directions we don't like, it really will stay robust and versatile and be a language for the ages.
That's so interesting. I just want to share this with you, though, Susie. Marion in Chichester said, removing the apostrophe is the start of a slippery slope. Misusing the apostrophe, though, makes her clench her teeth. It really does. It makes people cross, doesn't it?
It really does. And I think sometimes we see our language as this rock of stability when everything else is chaotic. And I totally understand that. But I would just say, Sally, there has never been a golden age in English. You know, even in Shakespeare's time, his contemporaries hated what he was doing to the language. There has never been a time when we have got everything absolutely correct. So I would say, please don't fear too much or grind your teeth too much. I know it can be annoying, but honestly, this does not mean the beginning of the end.
Thank you very much indeed. Full stop to that, Susie. We've enjoyed chatting. I'm sure our viewers have as well. We've had so many messages.
Susie always makes everyone feel better and calmer.
Yeah, she does. I'm quite relaxed. I thought she might be really strict about it. She might be a bit of a stickler, but, you know, she's relaxed.
Relaxed, yeah.